Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, of course, which is Mansell Media Corner, and today there has been a tag video in the film community via YouTube, which is top 10 films of the 1980s. If you do not know, I was actually born in 1981, which was an awesome year for films, but generally speaking, the 1980s had some absolute bangers of films. So the guys who have tagged me in who asked me to do like a video, in response. Stuart George's Home Movies, a hell of a guy. He knows a lot about films, and like we all do, but he's got an amazing collection of films. He knows a lot about directors and films and actors and actresses. Then a fellow subscriber in Ian Hill and the Ramplings, again an awesome guy. His top 10 list was awesome as well, and Blu-ray movies, but they will not be tagged in, but they've asked me to do like a response my own video, but there will be three guys who are very, very good friends of mine who I will mention at the end. So without further ado, in at number 10 for 1988, directed by Robert Zemeckis' Who Framed Roger Rabbit, with Bob Hoskins, Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit. I do remember seeing this film. I think it was the UCI in Merry Hill at the time, but what an awesome film this was. Like I said, for 1988. Like I said, such an amazing film. Of course, Christopher Lloyd as the villain as well, but I think, unless I could be wrong, this was the only time that Disney and Warner Brothers teamed up together. But what an ending sequence it is. We've got Dumbo and Mickey Mouse, Winnie the Pooh, etc., and Bugs Bunny teaming up. Now, in at number 9, the only Tim Burton film in this list, Michael Keaton, the great actor himself. I think it's Gina Davis and Alec Guinness, of course, which is from, I think, 1988, in Beetlejuice. What a great, classic Tim Burton, film, kind of like dark horror stroke, comedy stroke, fantasy, of course. What can I say? Michael Keaton is, in the 80s, just put up some bangers of films. But yeah, what an awesome film this was. So that's number 9 in Beetlejuice. In at number 8 is RoboCop directed by Paul Thomas Verhoeven. I think he later did Basic Instinct, but what an awesome film for 1987 this is. With Nancy Allen, I think. Yeah, but what an awesome film this was. Again, I haven't seen it, but this version, but I have seen RoboCop, and it is an awesome film. At the back it says, all cop or machine, I think it is. But yeah, what an awesome film this is. The future of law enforcement, and yes it is. Now, in at number 7 is the OG itself, Ghostbusters from 1984, but what a great comedy type of horror elements, directed by Ivan Reitman. But you've got the ever so legendary Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, the late great Harold Ramis. So yeah, and of course Sigourney Weaver and the great Rick Moranis. So yeah, so that's it. Number 8, it's Ghostbusters 1 from 1984. Now, in the next one, I love this film, but we've just got RoboCop in. So, back in 1993, Sega released an absolute class game, RoboCop versus Terminator, and this is the only Arnold Schwarzenegger film in this list from, like I said, 1984, with Michael Biehn, Linda Hamilton, and of course Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by James Cameron. One of his best films, I think, of the 80s, spot on. But yeah, what an awesome kind of action stroke horror elements. Some people say it's like a slasher. I just think it's just an all-out action film. Like I said before, Terminator 2, pardon me, this is one of Cameron's best as a director. Next one is the absolute classic film from 1985, which is Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, and this is directed by Robert Zemeckis. This is like a time travel comedy strokes, bit of sci-fi elements. I was going to put Back to the Future too, but Back to the Future is just an absolute classic film from a great year in films. So yeah, let's Back to the Future. Now, in at in fourth place, I do remember at the time being young, and this used to be on every Christmas Day, and it is Star Wars, and it is Return of the Jedi. What an awesome film this is. And again, Star Wars will appear, but what an awesome film from, I think it was 1983, with Warwick Davis as Wicket. Of course, he got the epic and final fighting between Luke and Darth Vader. Plus also you got a really good fight in Endor, I think it is. And of course, the return of Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Like I said there would be no spoilers, but he returns. But yeah, this film brings back lots of memories for me. Like I said, I was born in 1981, so when this film came out, I was only 2, and I do recall the VHS. But yeah, but what an awesome film this is. And in bronze place, what an awesome horror film this is. Absolute classic film, an awesome year for horror film in 1982, which is Poltergeist, directed by the great Tobe Hooper, produced by Steven Spielberg. But the backstory of this is really depressing, what happened. If you haven't checked out Cursed Films, I highly recommend that for the backstory. But yeah, really grim what happened behind the scenes. But other than that, what an awesome horror film, and it's one of the early films where a clown scares you before, obviously, It. But it was directed by Steven Spielberg, the original. Pardon, Stephen King. But yeah, what an awesome film this is. Like I say now, you have to check out Cursed Films from behind the scenes. But yeah, but what an awesome film. Now, the final 2 was actually a lot more harder than you think. As Jeremy would say, ooh. What gets the runners up? This is one of my favourite films of all time. Again, really emotional film. But that guy there, John Merrick, who's played by the brilliant, great John Hurt, and I agree with Ian, what an awesome performance from John Hurt. He steals this, but you've also got the great Pauline Quirk, who was famously in Birds of a Feather. Got Michael Elphick as Jack, I believe his name is, but he is a proper, not a great character. If you've never seen it, you'll be a bit shocked. But you've also got Sir Anthony Hopkins in this as well, and Freddie Jones as John Merrick's dad, and again, and he's a bit of a 50-50 character. But I believe Freddie Jones was in Dune, who was directed by the late great David Lynch. So yeah, that's in at number 2 from the year 1980. Now it's got to be said, I've got a bit of a spoiler, as my friend Pete Ember would say. Spoiler alert! And this is the absolute fantastic Empire Strikes Back from, like I said, 1980. You've got, what can I say, so many iconic scenes. You've got the epic fight between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader on the Death. No, it's on, is it on the Death Star? I forget. Of course, you got Yoda, who was voiced by Frank Oz. You've got the epic snow speeder fight with the AT-ATs. Of course, you got the very first ever proper appearance of Boba Fett. Plus also you got the continuing flirtation between Harrison Ford's Han Solo and the late great Princess Leia. But yeah, this was directed by Irving Kershner, and of course the maestro himself, John Williams. So yeah, that is my top 10 films, and here's the back. That's my top 10 now. Who should I tag in? I know one guy, I know his number 1 will be easy, but it's my good friend from up the road in Dudley, Jim Jam Movies and TV, mate. My good friend James Millership. The other one is one of the all-time greats in the film community, and it is the great, the legend himself, the main man, Big Paulie, and Mr. Jamie Powell. He's gonna get a tag, because these three have just put out some absolute classic films. So yeah, so my 3 guys I'm gonna tag in are as follows: Jim Jam Movies and TV, Big Paulie, and Jamie Powell, unless Jamie's been tagged, in which case I'm gonna go for Deli Welly himself, Del Boy. But yeah, I think, actually no, I am gonna go for Jamie Powell. So yeah, so Jim Jam Movies and TV, Big Paulie. I know Big Paulie is gonna have a hard time doing this list of top 10. He's like me in terms of films. The 80s is some of his best films ever. So yeah, so you got Jim Jam Movies and TV, Big Paulie and Jamie Powell. You guys have been tagged in. So anyhow, thank you for watching the channel. And before I go, I'm on 180 subs, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you guys for subbing. Don't forget to like, please share and subscribe. So without further ado, goodbye guys, goodbye.